Hi, everyone.
Hi.
I'm just admitting everyone into the room. Okay, so for this review session, we're going to be playing a game of Jeopardy. You guys could type in the answers if you would like. And or you could raise your hand and participate, whatever you guys prefer. Let me share my screen. Okay, are you guys ready?
Yep.
So the first one, this macronutrient is the most energy dense nutrient with 6 calories per gram.
Do you just answer it
Yeah,
with a
you could
voice?
type it in the chat or you could just shout it
Oh,
out.
in the chat. In the chat. I see. Energy. All right.
So is it like true or false? We would like just type in true or false in the chat.
You just answer what you think the macronutrient is. And it's like Jeopardy style. Have you guys played Jeopardy before?
What is
I did in like high
fast?
school, but it's been a while.
You
So
you just
yeah.
phrase it in like a question. So like what is blah blah blah.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
But you don't have to. You could just type down the answer if you know what the macronutrient is.
Yeah, I was gonna say what is fat, but that's what someone said.
Okay. What is fat? You're right. Okay, we're just gonna go down. Proteins are key components of these three vital elements in the body: blood cells, enzymes, and
Hmm.
okay, let's see what the answer is. Immune factors.
Yeah.
If you guys have any questions or want to go more in depth about any of these, just let me know.
Okay.
The process of cooking does not affect this nutrient. You know which nutrient it is?
What's the a particular nutrient?
Yeah, it could be. It's one's got it. Minerals. Nice job, Olivia.
Good job.
These chemicals found in fruits and vegetables offer health benefits, but are not classified as essential nutrients. Any guesses?
Hmm.
Phytochemicals. So these are like the extra, benefits that you could get from fruits or vegetables, like by consuming them whole instead of through like a powder. And it could be just like consuming like an apple and getting all of that roughage through your stomach, you know? You can't do that if you just eat a powder.
Are they in fruits too, or I thought mostly in vegetables, like
They're in
or
fruits and
greens and stuff?
vegetables.
Fruits too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I remember there was an example in the lecture about tomatoes.
Yeah, correct.
And antioxidant is a phytochemical and it's in like berries, like blueberries and strawberries.
And tomatoes are considered a fruit too, right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
These four micronutrients dissolve in fat. Any guesses?
I don't have a clue right now.
So vitamin A, D, E, and K, they dissolve in fat instead of water.
Uh,
So if you cook with them, actually, if you cook them in water, you'll lose all of them. But if you cook them into fat, like if you cook a salmon in like olive oil and you consume the olive oil, then you get that salmon fat in it. But if you throw away the olive oil, you're actually like it leaches the salmon fat out of it. I mean, these vitamins out of the salmon, which is pretty fun. And if you do that with water-soluble micronutrients that dissolve in water and you throw out that water, like broccoli. I forgot what vitamin. I think it's vitamin. If you cook the broccoli and it leaches the water-soluble micronutrients from it, then you won't get as much. So it goes both way with fats and water.
Where was that covered in that question? Like the
Oh,
chapter?
and this chapter was chapter 1 when it was, the water soluble and the fat soluble was not covered in lecture. It was just a fun fact to help you remember which one was soluble in water or soluble in fat. But it's
no,
mentioned.
that is covered in one of the chapters.
Okay.
I don't remember which one. Near the beginning.
So this section for Jeopardy guidelines is also in chapter 1. These two are in chapter 1. The last two is chapter 3, and food labeling, I think, is in chapter 2. So guidelines. And all of these Jeopardy slides, they are all from the lecture slides. This term describes foods that provide a large number of calories relative to their weight or volume.
Is this one energy density?
Yeah. Right.
Yes, nice remembering.
That's I was just typing that in. Damn it.
Beat you to it. Do you guys have any questions on energy density? You know what a food example of energy density is?
Cheeseburger. Anything with just high calorie content that doesn't provide any substance.
Yeah. Peanut butter provides a lot of protein and it has a bunch of other vitamins, but I was just thinking of like candy, like the candy kids get on Halloween. If you look at their labels, they're like 100 calories and there's like no nutritional value because it's just pure sugar, pure energy. So those are very high in energy density. Health problems resulting from insufficient dietary intake to meet nutritional needs describe this condition.
Is that the malnutrition?
Yeah. Malnutrition or undernutrition. Do you remember what the opposite of this one is? Is if you consume so much, but you still don't meet your nutritional needs. It's the opposite. It's just overnutrition.
I was thinking,
There's another word for it though, right? Another term?
Overnutrition?
There's the malnutrition, and then the other terms for it being either over or under.
Malnourished.
That could be it. Gosh, Or look it up now almost. But wait, we can go by.
Okay. Foods like fruits, vegetables, and whole grains are examples of this type of food, which is rich in nutrients but relatively low in calories.
One's nutrient dense.
Yes. Can you give an example of nutrient dense food?
Ooh. Oatmeal.
Yeah, oatmeal. Oh, also, if you're just joining the chat, can you please type your email into the chat so I could write it down and take attendance? Thank you.
Should all of us put it or just the people that just joined?
Everyone who just joined. And if you
Okay.
haven't written your email before, so writing it would be good. So I could keep attendance. Okay. Observed to be adequate to meet the needs of an age/gender without seeing any problems or apparent deficiencies.
To be adequate and
Adequate intake. So this is definitely variable between individuals. So like depending on how active your lifestyle is, how tall you are, how much, you are going to burn throughout the day. And it's like, so you don't, because if you consume too much of something, it could cause problems. And if you consume too little, it could also cause problems. So the range for that is called the adequate intake. Symptoms like rapid hair loss can be an indicator in this type of assessment, which focuses on nutrition-related physical signs.
Hmm.
Do you know what type of assessment this is?
I don't have a clue. I've forgotten.
Do you remember the ABCDs of nutrition assessments? Can you guys figure out what A, B, C, D, E are? The C is the clinical assessment, and it's looking at health problems. But A, B, D, E, do you guys remember what those were?
Remember, once obviously you got your blood, taking your vital or doing a whole assessment of your blood systems.
A was anthropological,
Mm-hmm.
and then B was biochemical. And then I forgot D, but E is environmental.
Correct.
Does anybody remember what
D
D
is
was?
dietary. Dietary?
Oh, dietary, yes. And using them all to assess someone's nutrition. So you need to look at a lot of things to figure out what kind of treatment they need. Okay, this next section is about food labeling. So if you go to a grocery store and you pick up a cereal box like that label, this is this section, okay? This label indicates that a food product is grown without pesticides, synthetic fertilizer, or genetically modified organisms.
Organic.
Nice. This act requires that food products containing protein from major allergens must be labeled to protect consumers.
It's not basic as just the Food Act, is it?
The food allergen
Food
label.
allergen.
A common health claim on food packaging that does not require scientific evidence and is not approved or validated by the FDA. These, for example, these vitamin gummy supports the immune system. So what's this common health claim called? Does anyone remember?
Is it a good source?
It's the structure/function health claim. So it's anytime something on a label that states that it's going to support a specific body part or something like that, like none of that is approved by the FDA. And it's not requiring any like scientific testing. The company who put the label might claim there's scientific testing done, and they're like, oh, we proved that like these things, these carrot gummies help strengthen eyes, you know. But they're like, since the FDA didn't approve of it or like validate it because it's just such a broad category, there's a lot of freedom for these companies to put these on their labeling. You pick a box of Cheerio cereal in the supermarket. The nutrition facts panel tell you that a 1 cup serving provides 25% of the blank for iron.
Daily value.
Daily value. A food label that means replacing nutrients lost in processing.
Fortified.
Enrich. Fortify and enrich are very similar because there was a whole act back then when they realized, like, because I actually did my senior thesis studying all-purpose flour, and they did that to all-purpose flour where they try to make it super white and like shelf stable and homogeneous. So they took out a bunch of things from it. But then when they realized, since a lot of Americans were eating it and were not getting enough of specific nutrients, they were enriching it with stuff they lost and fortifying with other like vitamins and minerals that weren't originally part of the like wheat, you know. But because a lot of Americans were consuming it, they thought it would be like a fastest way for it to not be deficient. That's the fun story behind
That's
it.
different. Enriching is putting the stuff back in that was taken out during processing, and fortifying is adding stuff that was never there to begin with.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But the bad thing about enriching and fortifying is that it's never a perfect 1-to-1 ratio from the original like amount of nutrients. Like if you get the wheat and you process it and then you add everything back, that product is not going to have the same amount of nutritional value as the original product. Got that?
Mhm.
Okay. This next section is really fun. It's the digestive system. I hope you guys study that. If not, here are some questions to help you. Starch digesting enzyme produces by the salivary glands and pancreas. So what's this enzyme called?
Mucus?
Amylase.
Amylase. Do you remember what mucus specifically digests?
Well, I mean, it digests the food going down your esophagus and then into your
Yeah.
stomach.
It also like lines your GI tract, you know, because your stomach is so acidic and like it protects your systems, the mucus. But it was also a
Yeah.
trick question because I don't think mucus is specific. It's very non-specific.
Yeah. It goes all the way through out to even your large intestine too, doesn't it?
Yeah. Mixture of stomach secretions and partially digested food is called what?
Is that the chyme?
Yes, chyme. It's just a silly word, but I thought it would be fun to know because as the food is going throughout your whole system, this is literally the name of it. The part of the digestive system that has microbiota and absorbs water, some minerals, and vitamins?
Is it
Sure.
the large intestine?
No, the lower or the small intestine.
Okay, why do you think it's the small intestines?
Because that comes right out of the stomach, and it's the first one. It's got all the components that actually absorb everything that works to actually break down all the food particles.
Does anybody know what the small intestine does? So the other classmates were correct. This is the large intestines. The
Oh, it
small
is?
intestines, it does
Hmm.
all the absorption for everything else basically. And that's like where most of the nutrition in your body, like when it gets break down into chyme, it enters through the small intestines. Except, oh wait, this is gonna be another question. Almost spoiled it. Okay, this type of nutrient that cannot be absorbed by the small intestines, which is what I was just talking about, it goes through the hepatic portal to the liver. Oh, it doesn't go through the hepatic portal to the liver because this nutrient is too big, and this nutrient enter the lacteals, traverse to the lymphatic system to the bloodstream, and then stored in adipose tissue. What is this nutrient called?
Lipids.
Yeah, it's kind of cool to think. Have you guys seen a lipid molecule before?
I haven't.
I think I don't know if we covered that in lecture yet, but out of all the other molecules, it's just really like gnarly and big, so it can't get absorbed by the small intestine like it physically can. So it has a special passageway, and this is the whole like passageway. And thinking about its separate passageway is kind of fun. Do you know what the hepatic portal absorbs if not lipids?
Hmm.
Well, it goes to the liver.
Mm-hmm. But what nutrients travel through the hepatic portal?
Water soluble nutrients. That's what I have.
Yeah, water soluble nutrients as well as like the proteins and carbs. So everything else, basically.
Yeah.
Oh, I just did this one. Okay. The next question. This organ in the digestive system manufactures insulin, glucagon, bicarbonate ion, lipase, trypsinogen, and amylase.
For the kidneys,
Not the kidneys.
liver,
Oh yes, Louise, the pancreas.
pancreas.
This is a very important organ in the digestive system because without all these enzymes and hormones, we won't be able to have a functioning GI tract. Do you guys remember what insulin is? Or its function specifically?
It's a hormone that controls your blood sugar, blood glucose.
Yes. What about glucagon? Yes, Emily raises blood sugar. So they both are kind of like, like that yin yang symbol. That's how I imagine them sometimes because one works and the other one is like resting, and then the other one goes when the other one's resting. So insulin, like when you consume food, insulin helps lower blood sugar and basically like breaks down everything and puts your blood sugar at like equilibrium. And when you get really hungry and your cells are running out of sugar, glucagon comes in and starts breaking down your sugar storage. in your liver and like starts sending it out to your blood that redistributes it to the cell. So it's like a fun dance they're doing with each other. And that's how I try to remember them. Just like a fun dance. Do you guys know what bicarbonate ion does in your digestive system?
It neutralizes your stomach acid.
Mm-hmm. It does. It neutralizes that and maintains pH. So when all of the chyme goes into your small intestines from the stomach, it actually does bring stomach acid with it. But you don't want your small intestine to be acidic. So the pancreas releases bicarbonate ion to neutralizes it. But it doesn't do it in the stomach because you need the stomach acid in the stomach. So it does it in the small intestines, which is really fun. What about lipase? Does anyone know what the function of lipase is? Yes, digest lipids. So a way to remember, if you guys haven't taken a class that taught you what ACE is, do you guys know what this means as a suffix? Yes.
It means it's an enzyme.
Yep. It's an enzyme. And lipid. So digest lipids, regularly. And what about trypsinogen? Have you guys gone over this in class yet? Yep, breaks down proteins. And amylase we covered earlier, how that digests starch in the mouth. Okay, this is the fun topic. GI tract maladies. So they're just like health problems that were covered in lecture. And you have to just guess what the health problem is based on what is given. Erosion of the lining in the esophagus, stomach, or upper small intestines. Do they remember what health problem this is?
That's something with the ulcers, isn't it?
Yes, ulcers.
Ulcers.
Health condition in which stomach acid backs up in the esophagus and is common in half of North American adults.
Acid reflux. Yeah.
Also known as heartburn. And
Heartburn.
yeah. Chronic immune-mediated disease that flattens villi and limits absorption of nutrients due to exposure to dietary protein called gluten.
Celiac.
Yep. And eliminate sugar foods, poorly digested carbohydrates, follow low food map dietary pattern, moderate caffeine. Oh, I spelled the whole word. Small, frequent, low fat meal, and reduce stress, treat depression. This is actually a treatment plan for a specific illness. Does anyone have a guess of what treatment plan this is for? Or like what the illness the treatment plan is for?
Is it irritable bowel syndrome?
Yep. And our last question is, according to the hygiene hypothesis, a highly sanitized environment might contribute to a higher risk of developing these type of immune-related disorders. What are the immune-related disorders that you can get from a super clean environment that does not expose you to like germs? Does anyone remember anything else about the hygiene hypothesis?
I don't remember us talking about that.
It's in
Yeah.
chapter 3. This is from the lecture slides, and the answer is allergies and autoimmune disease. In the hygiene hypothesis, they were noticing how, since a lot of people have improved public hygiene and cleanliness and have a lot of like tools and like standards in place, like food safety and such like that, that they're noticing like a lot of kids who only live in these sorts of environments, they tend to grow up and have a lot of allergies and autoimmune diseases. And this hypothesis is saying that because they're so clean, they have no exposure to anything. And so as soon as they get the exposure, their bodies is like, whoa, this is so foreign, we gotta attack it. And they develop these things. So this is what the hypothesis proposes. And this is in, your third lecture. Does anyone have any other questions? And for those who joined a bit late, if you can put your email in the chat, I can write you guys down for attendance.
Yes, I'm sorry. I teach a class until 5:30, so I got home as soon as I could.
Okay, no worries. This whole tutor thing is recorded and will be posted. And if you guys are planning to come again on Friday, it's just going to be the exact same Jeopardy slides. So if you guys want a second breather, I might go more in depth into some of them because I realized I had the information after we already passed the question. So if you guys have any questions about it, we could go back and review, or you could just, just see the lecture, the video posted.
I got a question about, so there are assigned reading compared to the lecture slides. It seems like the lecture slides are a little, I guess, not less information, but don't cover, I guess, all the subjects that the assigned reading does. Is that, am I getting that correct? Or am I matching that? It covers most of it, she does, for sure.
Does the assigned reading, because I didn't read the assigned readings, I took this class with a different professor who was a registered dietitian. So she went a lot more in depth into it. And so I didn't read the assigned reading, but usually the assigned reading just goes into more detail about what we're going in lecture. Is that to be the case?
In my opinion, I think so.
Then that's a good thing. I feel like
so
you're getting more like story, more context for these things. And if you do have time for it, then I think it's really important to understand the context for a lot of these things. Do you have any specific topics you want to go over for the assigned readings that you were a bit confused about or want to know more about?
Ooh, really how I did on these questions. I have a lot more to go back over.
These questions were like 100% like based on these lectures slides, and I worded it kind of funny because usually when you take a test, it's usually the question and then the answers. These were the answers first, so that could have thrown you off a bit. But if you know you need to study these slides, these Jeopardy questions, they're going to be in the video that I'm going to post later.
Okay, cool.
Does anyone else have any questions?
I do. The call on Friday it's mid-afternoon.
Yeah, you only have to attend one of them. You don't have to attend both of them. And if you can't make it, you could just make a one-on-one appointment with the professor.
Okay.
Yeah, but I don't think she's doing Jeopardy, so I'm doing something fun for this session. Is there any topics you guys want to go over? We have like 4 more minutes left. Or any questions about the course or anything? I should create more questions. Okay. Well, if you guys don't have any questions, you guys are welcome to dip. I'll stay here until the end of the session for whoever wants to ask. Thank you all for coming. It was really fun to have you guys participate.
Thank you. That
Thank you
was,
very much.
Thank you.
informative.
Celine, I have a quick question about the digestive system 400 question.
This question?
Yeah. Um, okay, so the hepatic portal circulation, that's just the H2O soluble nutrients. And then you said carbs as well.
For the hepatic portal. Wait, give me
Yeah.
a second to pull up the slides. So you were saying that the carbs were not part of it, the hepatic portal?
Oh no, I'm just making sure they are part of it. It's carbs and H2O soluble nutrients are transferred into the hepatic portal circulation. And then fats are lymphatic circulation because they're too big. So they go
Yeah.
through the lacteals. Okay.
Right.
And so proteins would also go through the lacteal. They would go through the lymphatic circulation. So any nutrient that's not carb, that's not a carbohydrate, would go through the lymphatic circulation.
Okay, I'll get back to you on that question.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Of course.
I have a note here, just if it helps, of what Professor Rose told us. And it says, very important part of digestive system called the hepatic portal system. Only protein and carbs are absorbed this way.
Okay, yeah, that's what I assumed. But I wanted to fact check myself because I've learned
Yeah.
this like a while ago. And because she asked me, I was just like, oh wait, was it not included in the lecture? But thanks.
No,
I'll
it
email
was.
her back.
Thank you. It was nice to
Of
meet you.
course. Thanks for coming.
Good night.
Good night.
Yeah, thanks for bye.